Hello, everybody. I'm Padma. I am a member of Chennai Storytellers, a student of Eric's as well. And I've written this story, and the title of the story is uh, Wealth, Wisdom, and Valor. Um, so let's dive into the story. And if there are any terminologies that you'd like to know, I will explain as it goes. So, long ago, King Suvikrama and his beautiful wife Mandakini lived in a beautiful island of Kaladvipam, which was somewhere in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The island was named Kaladvipam because Kala means art, Dvipam means island. All the inhabitants of this island were artists, singers, painters, sculptors, potters, chefs, you name it, and you had all sorts of artistic people living in this kingdom. It was a flourishing and rich kingdom because countries from all over the world came rushing to buy the beautiful artifacts that churned out of this island kingdom. Things like jewelry, crafts, embroidery, and everything. So the king and the queen ruled very justly, and it was a very happy kingdom. They didn't have any necessity even to have an army. The king and queen loved each other. Their love was very profound. However, it was incomplete because they did not have any children. And so, just to fulfill that desire, both the king and the queen embarked on vigorous penance and prayers and meditation to the gods so that they would be granted their wish. One night, as the king slept, in his dream there appeared goddess Saraswati. She is known in Indian mythology to be the goddess of knowledge, wisdom, as well as all forms of art. She came to the king in his dream and gave him two choices. King Suvikrama, you can either continue to rule your kingdom justly and live very happily with your beloved wife for many years to come, but childless. Or if you choose to have a child, you will have to pay a price. When the child turns 9, you will die. The king was very willing to sacrifice his life because he knew how much his wife, the queen, wanted to have a child. And so he made his decision. And as soon as he had made his decision, the goddess blessed him and vanished. After several months, Kaladvipam rejoiced at the arrival of a beautifully enchanting baby girl, and she was named Madhuri, which means as sweet as nectar. The kingdom flourished under the rule of the king, and everybody was happy. Soon Madhuri turned 9. By then, she had mastered several art forms, like the whole kingdom is inhabited by artists. So she had already learned the art of painting, sculpting, modeling, embroidery, and several other art forms, in addition to being an expert in politics, warfare, and also statecraft. One fine day, there arrived a huge ship from Rusa Rajya. It was a very far off kingdom. The emperor had laden the ship with gold and diamonds because he wanted to give them in exchange for all the art and artifact that he would load in a ship. The emperor had also sent a note to king asking him to please accompany my ship to my kingdom because my son's wedding is to take place and I would like your family to grace this occasion. The queen and Madhuri could not go because of other commitments, and so King Suvikrama bid them farewell and set a sail. Unfortunately, just after a few months, a messenger arrived bearing the sad news that the very ship in which King Suvikrama had sailed had been caught in a fierce storm and tempest and had sunk. The entire kingdom of Kaladvipam drowned in sorrow. Queen Mandakini was inconsolable. She isolated herself in her chambers, never to come out. Days rolled into months and years, and the child Madhuri had to take charge of ruling the kingdom. However, she spent a lot of her time with her mother, pouring her with all her love and devotion and compassion. And slowly, in a few years, the broken heart of the queen mended, and she was once again ready to take charge of the kingdom. And once again, the kingdom fell back on its track and began to flourish. By now, Madhuri had turned 16 years of age. She was the embodiment and personification of Goddess Saraswati. That's what anybody who met her told. And she had by now mastered all forms of art. There was nothing that she couldn't do. And soon the queen realized that it was time that she found an ideal suitor for her daughter, beautiful daughter. As the days went by, one day, out of nowhere, a flock of 8 very strange looking, huge, large birds appeared, and they flew and dived and came right into the queen's chambers. The biggest of the birds opened its wings, and from under its wing removed a parchment and laid it at the queen's feet. All the other birds removed bags, velvet bags containing gold jewelry and diamond jewelry that no human hand could have created. The queen then took the parchment, she unrolled it to find a handwritten note. She then read it. Devi, please accept the token of gifts that I sent through my messengers. I am Abija, the king of Patala Loka. Patala Loka means Netherlands. In Indian mythology, there are several parallel worlds, and this is one of them. My kingdom is unparalleled in richness, grandeur, and beauty. The purpose of my sending you these gifts is to seek the hand of your daughter in marriage. Devi, I am youthful and valorous. I can conquer the entire world to win her heart. I promise to gift her with every happiness in the world in return for her love and loyalty to me. I shall also provide eternal protection to your kingdom in return for your daughter's hand in marriage. And Devi, before I conclude, I have come to know that your daughter Madhuri is a beautiful artist. Please ask her to send her self-portrait to me, which I shall treasure till I am able to come in person to seek her hand in marriage. Respectfully yours, signed, Abija. The queen had never heard of Abija or his lineage, but she felt that he must be a very powerful king, and so she called for Madhuri and showed her the parchment. As soon as Madhuri saw the parchment, her heart sank. She was not ready for marriage as yet, but she didn't want to disappoint her mother, and so she agreed to do her self-portrait, and eventually she handed over the portrait to the birds, which took it, and all the birds flew northward. Days went by, and the incident of the birds having come and appeared and gone was almost forgotten by everybody in the island, when one early morning, the sight of 7 huge and magnificent ships in the horizon made everybody rush to the shores of the island. Those 7 magnificent ships stood docked far away, and out of one of the ships stepped out a Dhanava, a giant. He waded through the waters of the ocean and walked towards the island. As he approached the shores, the people fled for their own safety and hid themselves. Then the Dhanava released a bird which flew towards the palace to announce his arrival. Soon from the palace arrived an entourage of servants, the queen and Madhuri to meet and greet the giant. As soon as the Dhanava saw the queen, he respectfully wished her, "Oh, my dear queen, just as I had promised, here I have come in person to seek the hand of your daughter in marriage." The queen was flabbergasted. She was dumbstruck. How could she marry her beautiful small young daughter, this giant? But then she noticed that Abijah was scanning the crowds, and then he asked, "Oh, queen, where is your daughter?" So the queen pointed to Madhuri and said, "Here she is." The Danava said, "No, I ask for the hand of your other daughter." The queen said, "I have but one daughter, and this is her." The Danava was furious. He said, "Then who is this from this beautiful enchantress who has won my heart?" And showed her the painting, the portrait. And then the queen recognized the dusky beauty in the painting and immediately called for Kamali, the maid. The poor maid came perplexed, staring at the giant. And then immediately Madhuri rushed to her mother and said, "Mother, mother, forgive me. When on that day when you presented me with the parchment, I was not ready for marriage. And so, just for fun, I asked Kamali to pose instead of me, and I sent her portrait. Please forgive me, but it was all just for fun." The Danava was furious. He said, "What? All this for fun? Do you have any idea of the horrendous penance that I had to go through in order to transport myself from my Patala Loka, from my netherlands to your kingdom, the earth? Do you have any idea? And you think it's all a joke?" And now I come to realize that this maiden is not even of royal lineage. Still, I have lost my heart to her and I wish to marry her. And then the queen stepped forward, telling, "Yes, I do realize that you've come a long way seeking the hand of this maiden. However, here in our island, it is customary for us to marry only through free will and consent. So let us check with Kamali." Kamali, every eyes now fell on Kamali, and Kamali stared at the giant and said, "No, I can't marry a giant, and I don't even love him." And then the queen said, "So it is settled then. I'm very sorry, but you will have to seek the hand of a maiden who is ready to marry you." This enraged Abijah. He said, I am under an oath not to murder anybody from your realm, but I shall not return empty-handed, nor shall I be insulted thus." So he cast a spell. Immediately, grey clouds came rolling by and engulfed the entire island. The whole island grew misty, and soon the people in the island found their eyelids growing heavier and heavier, and everybody fell into deep slumber. Nobody knew for how long they had all been asleep, but when they awoke, the whole island was in distress because they found that every single unmarried girl had vanished. All the subjects ran to their queen and said, "Oh, queen, save us." This time, the queen could not let her subjects down. So she took charge and she said, "I shall do whatever it takes to get back all my daughters. Do not fret." And she immediately jumped on her horse and rode straight into the forest. Deep within the forest, there was a sacred lake called as the Lotus Lake. She dipped herself, bathed in the lake, sat on the shores, and went into deep meditation. She must have meditated for days on end. She meditated with all her mind, body, and soul. And at last, after several days, there appeared before her a rishi. A rishi is like a celestial being, a sage. And then, as soon as the queen saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Oh, sire, why has this fate befallen my kingdom? We are all peace-loving. We have never gone to war with anybody. Why? What has happened to my subjects?" And then the sage told her, "Do not fret, my dear child. Abijah is the king of Patala Loka, the netherworld. He wishes to marry and have children, but just as his name suggests, Abijah in Sanskrit means, bija means seeds, Abija means seedless. So he said, just as his name suggests, he can never bear children. He cannot sire children. And so out of anger, hatred, he has held all these women captive. Then the queen said, "O sage, tell me a way how I can rescue my children." The sage said, "Do not fret. Sail northward. The constellation of the stars will be your guide, and you will know by yourself intuitively when you have reached his realm. Now I bless you to be the conqueror of all evil." And as soon as the sage had blessed her, he vanished. And the queen felt herself being invigorated. She felt energized. She felt that she had a lot of power in her. She immediately set sail on a ship, and they sailed for 9 days and nights. And at last, when they set eyes on the white sands of a desert, the queen knew that she must embark on the rest of the journey by herself. And so she asked the soldiers to wait and set foot on the scorching sands of the desert. As she walked, she saw a white bird flitting past up and down, as though indicating the queen must follow the bird. She followed the bird, and at last it led her to the palace grounds, a palace so opulent and beautiful that she had never imagined that there could be such richness that existed. And she walked into something that appeared to be like an amphitheater. And she was stunned. Her mouth fell open when she saw the sight of thousands of girls, maidens, and Dhanavis, all in stones, statues. She looked at each and every statue, and as she scanned the statues, her eyes fell upon one specific statue that was a spitting image of Dr. Madhuri. The queen rushed to the statue and hugged it and said, "Madhuri, my child." As she cried, she found that the statue cracked open and out stepped Madhuri. Mother and daughter embraced each other, and then the queen could recognize many of her subjects, and the queen went on hugging each statue. And with every passing wave of love, every statue broke open and there appeared the girls. And soon the entire place was surrounded by thousands of all these maidens, Dhanavis, and princesses. As they all looked at each other and with great devotion towards the queen mother, suddenly they heard a thunderous sound. Yes, it was Abijah who was coming. As soon as he came there, as a giant, he peered down and he was shocked that every girl had come to their natural form. He thundered, "All these stone-hearted women who rejected my offer for marriage and protection deserve to be stones. Who dared to break my curse? Come forth, or I will kill them all." And he proceeded towards the girl when the queen mother bravely stepped forward and she held her hand thus in Abhaya Mudra. This is the gesture of blessing and kindness. There was a sudden stillness in the surroundings. Simultaneously, all the thousands of the girls also held their hand in the same gesture, and thereupon flowed their kindness, benevolence, compassion, and blessing. Abijah, who was seething with anger and rage, suddenly found a shift happening within himself, and he found himself calming down and becoming peaceful. And that was when the queen mother spoke to him. "Abijah, you have allowed your pride and ego to prevent you from accepting your fate. You have used your magical powers to harm and humiliate others. Has it ever brought any joy to you? Imposing your will on others, is that even right, Abijah? Don't you think it is the right thing to do to set these maidens free?" As soon as she spoke, the Dhanava shrunk himself in size and he fell at the queen mother's feet and said, "Yes, I accept my folly. I have indeed wronged these maidens. Please forgive me. However, when I see the world full of creatures that have their own offspring, they procreate, they have children to leave behind a lineage, How can I ever get solace when I know that I'm cursed, never to be remembered once I am dead? Then the queen said, I understand your feelings. I understand your sadness. It is it is common that we all wish to leave behind a lineage so that we will be even after we die. And Abijah, in return for your kind deed, I shall transform myself into a tree, a special tree that you will find growing everywhere. And that tree will have fruits that will bear hundreds of seeds. And those seeds, in each of those seeds, you will be the representative. You will be representing it. You will nourish the health of all the people. And that tree is nothing but the pomegranate. I shall transform myself into a Dadima Vriksha, the Dadima Phala. So saying, the mother transformed herself into a pomegranate tree so that eternally the Danava will be remembered. Each time there is a pomegranate, the Danava will be remembered through the fruit. That was her message. And soon there stood in front of him a tree bearing thousands of these fruits. All the girls and maidens plucked many fruits to take to their lands. Magically, there appeared flying carpets, chariots, horse drawn carts to transport all the trapped maidens back to their lands. Madhuri, with all her friends, carefully carried the tree back to her land so that she would treasure her mother in the form of the tree. And to this day, we find the pomegranate tree growing everywhere you set your eyes in the world. And that is how a mother, a queen, used her wealth, wisdom, and valor to conquer evil. And she sacrificed herself to be remembered eternally. Thank you. That's my story.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting story. Now let me just to review the beginning to make sure I got it right. The father approaches a god, and the god gives the agreement that he will have a daughter, but he will die when the daughter is 9 years old. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so then he went on a sea journey and he was lost.
Yes.
He was 9.
Yes.
I see. And then that giant came.
Yeah.
Now, it says in the notes that you created this story. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. From scratch, yes.
Uh-huh.
I'll tell you the background.
Okay.
Navaratri is a 9-day celebration we have in India in a certain month. It is to celebrate the power of women or goddesses. So there are 3 goddesses, a goddess for wealth, a goddess for wisdom, and a goddess for valor. So 3 days are devoted to each of these goddesses. I wrote this story in connection with those celebratory days. So that's how I wanted to show that a woman has the power of wisdom that she can use. She did not use her valor to if she wanted, she could have killed the Danava because she was already blessed. But she only used her compassion and kindness to change his mind. She sacrificed herself. She had immense wealth, but she did not flaunt it. She used it to upgrade or to skill up all her people in her kingdom. So this is what I wanted to bring forth in this story.
Yes, and it was a land of art. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
That's also a very interesting concept. I never heard of such a land.
That's why the island is named Kala Dweepam. Kala means art. Dweepam means island, an island of arts, art.
Indian culture is really something else. I mean, in you know, in the West, you're not allowed to make up mythology.
Oh.
No, of course not. But in Indian culture, we're allowed, it seems. Anybody, any thoughts?
May I?
Go ahead.
Hi, Paddy. Is that your name or you
Yeah,
go by Paddy?
I go by
Padma.
Paddy.
Padma.
Okay, yeah, Padma. It's a wonderful story, and the way you narrated it was even more wonderful. Why did you say that this is mythology? This could have been any story, right? This could have been story of a king and a queen and the princess. Why are you calling it a mythology?
No, there is I called it mythology because um, the three goddesses, Durga, Lakshmi, and Saraswati, are
Hmm.
all three embodiments that are part of every woman.
Hmm.
If we have the knowledge, we have the wisdom, we have the valor. We just need to use it in the right channelized way. And
Hmm.
because I wrote it during Navratri, I called
Hmm.
it a mythological story. Like you
Okay.
say, when I present it here, it can just be a king and queen story
Yeah,
as well. You're right.
okay. Yeah. No, I wanted to clarify because is there any reference in any mythological story? I just wanted to know. So there is no. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Totally out of thin air.
Thank you. It was wonderfully written and wonderfully narrated too.
Sharda? Oh, you got to turn your mic on. Sharda, your mic is not on.
It is on.
Go ahead now. Nope, still we're not getting your sound. Nope. Hmm.
Shilpa Mehta wants to talk.
Yes, maybe Sharda, keep trying, but you can also write a comment in the chat section and we'll read it out loud. Shilpa, go ahead.
Yeah, Patty, it was a beautiful story. But I just wanted to know, like towards the end, you said that that's why pomegranate trees are found everywhere. So how have you related this? Like, is it
See,
fiction or is it a
it
fact?
is, no, it's totally fiction. I
Fiction.
see pomegranate seeds, they're all full of seeds. And
Seeds.
that is one fruit in which you have hundreds of seeds.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this is a man, this is a giant who is whose name he's named Abijah, which means he cannot sire children. He
yeah. Right,
cannot
right, right.
have children. So I related the two, saying that from now on, anybody who eats the fruit will remember the Danava who was behind this, or because of whom we have this fruit. It was again fictional. There is no such truth
Lovely,
to it.
lovely, lovely, beautiful. Yeah,
So
right.
she immortalized both herself and the giant.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
So you can show the PPT in my illustrations.
Yes, we will in a moment. Mira, did you want to say something?
Yeah, Padma, actually, through your storytelling, I was trying hard to remember, references to Abija, and it was so, I think I could get why you're calling a mythology. You made it, exactly the way a mythology flows. And I
Yeah.
was trying hard to remember. I had never heard this. I've never heard this. I think it was wonderful. I really loved it.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go on to screen share and show some images. Just a moment. Okay, that's it, right, Padma?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to scroll down. So these are illustrations that Padma has made, and I suggested that she show the illustrations after telling the story. So we could all visualize it ourselves first and then see her visualizations. So this is the island of Kala.
This is the king and the queen. And this is the island abounding in all forms of art: sculpting, dancing, music, pottery, wallcraft, everything. And this is the queen who is, inconsolable after she hears about the death of her husband. And these are the birds that appear in front of the queen. The queen is now holding the parchment while the other birds have kept these velvet bags for her to containing gold and diamonds. And this is Abijah, the giant, and those are the ships, and these are the people, and that is the magical bird by his feet. This, I don't know what happened. This pictures, something is wrong here. Anyway, this is how the queen found all the sculptures in that amphitheater garden. Everybody transformed into stone statues. And this is Madhuri, the princess, who takes the pomegranate and the plant back to Kaladvipa. That's it. Yeah, that's all.
Wonderful.
This is so amazing. Are you going to be doing this as like a children's book?
I've not thought about it, so but if children will like this kind of story, then why not? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like you're ready to publish. And the story is delightful, and I think kids and their parents would love reading this.
Okay.
A little scary that when the daughter turns 9 that her father is gone, but there's lots of children's books out there that are scary.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be unique to that, but the story is brilliant. The way you told it was wonderful. And I was listening to the conversation with you and Eric beforehand, and Eric had indicated that the words should be described afterwards, or the definition should be given, but it would have been difficult to follow the story if you had done it like that. So I thought that the way you did it was perfect.
Thank you.
And I appreciated knowing the meaning of the words during the story. It just brilliant. And the fact that your Eric student really speaks volumes to anyone getting to the point of being able to tell a story better than they are currently. So I think that your ability is a testimony to Eric's ability to
Absolutely.
impart wisdom.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Padma. I really, really appreciated your story. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm recalling that in Greek culture, pomegranate also has a divine place. Persephone, the young maiden, when she is taken down into the underworld, she eats 1 or 2 pomegranate seeds, and that commits her to having to live in the underworld half of the year. The fact that she ate those seeds. So it seems pomegranate is it's a resonant fruit in at least 2 cultures, probably more. Okay, shall we proceed to the next storytelling? Unless anyone wants to say anything else about this story and storytelling. Sharda, did you get your mic on?
Am I audible now?
Yes, it is. Good. Go
Oh,
ahead.
good. Okay. Okay. 1 minute. I don't know what's happened. Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a very new kind of a story, though I'm in India. I've never heard such a fascinating story. I would love to know from where you sourced it so I could, become comfortable with it. And it was really said very well. With all the expressions and the words selected. Oh my goodness. It was amazing.
Thank you. I didn't source it anywhere. I created the story.
Oh, and you're going to write a book about it? Yeah?
I
Planning
probably
to?
should. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And where are you from?
I am from Chennai Storytellers. I live in India, and now I'm in
Even
Coimbatore.
Chennai itself. Even
No,
I'm
I
from
live in
Chennai.
Coimbatore now.
Oh, Coimbatore. Okay, okay. I would love to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay, thank you. It was very nice.
Very good. Now, Lalitha, are you ready? Lalitha Shah?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so we stay in gallery mode, but I will be magnifying your image for the recording. What I suggest to storytellers is put your own image at the bottom of the screen. Can you drag people's images around?
Yes.
I suggest put your image on the bottom and put the image of somebody who seems to be a good listener at the top, right under the camera. And really make an effort to look into the camera, which is difficult for us storytellers because we like to look at people's faces. But truly to make the most out of the video conference medium as a storyteller, one really needs to give eye contact into the camera. It is so satisfying for the viewers to get that sense of eye contact and so frustrating if we don't get the eye contact. So as a storyteller, we have to sacrifice our own satisfaction of seeing people's faces in order to give the satisfaction of other people having eye contact with us. It's actually an interesting paradox. Okay, now I'm going to magnify your image for me. And everybody, you know, if you want, you can magnify the storyteller's image. You go to the storyteller's rectangle and the upper right corner, there are 3 white dots. And you click on that and you go down to pin, and that will magnify the storyteller's image. Okay, so Lilitha, please introduce yourself fully. Tell us about your work. Tell us where you're telling from. Tell us the title of your story. And please tell us a story.
Hello, good evening. I am Lalita. I am from Hyderabad. I tell stories to kids and adults. I tell stories in Telugu, Hindi, and English. And I have a storytelling initiative called Katha Chavadi, and under that, I do storytelling sessions. And I'm very happy to be here to tell you all a story. The name of the story is Satsangatyam, or the association of good people. It's good friendship. This story is from the Puranas, the Indian mythology. Some say it's from the Bhagavatam, some say it's from the Narada Purana, and some say it's from the Vishnu Purana. So I don't know which Purana, but it is from the Puranas. And I chose this story today because we celebrated Friendship Day yesterday, and this story is about friendship. And I always go back to this story whenever I have doubts about what kind of a friend I should be. So, in the Dwapara Yuga, that is when Lord Vishnu came to the earth as Krishna, this story took place. So, second, I changed the. Can you all hear me? The video is gone. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So, during the Dwapara Yuga, one day Krishna was just relaxing in the garden and he heard somebody approaching. And he knew who it was, but he just closed his eyes and he did not open. He was just relaxing and he could hear a song and he could hear footsteps approaching. Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari, Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari, Jaya Govinda Brinda Vihari, Jaya Krishna Mukunda Murari. Narayana Narayana. The person who approached him was Narada. For people who are from outside India, Narada, if you can see behind me, is a divine sage. He's a messenger. He is also known to be a traveling musician. He's also called the Manasaputra of Brahma, or he is known to be, Manasaputra means he's been created by the mind. And he is a great devotee of Vishnu. He is a great sage, but he's also known to be mischievous. And most people called him a trickster because he would create conflicts between the gods and the demons, the devatas and the asuras. So nobody, whenever he approached the asuras said, "You are not our friend, you are the friend of the devatas. So please go away." And the devatas also had the same complaint against him, that you create problems, you go and tell whatever you should not be telling, you go and tell the asuras, and then there are problems. So he was a little frustrated and he wanted some answers. So he came to Krishna, and Krishna was sleeping. And he bowed down and he said, "Narayana, Narayana." Krishna opened his eyes and looked at Narada. "Krishna, wherever I go, people are calling me a trickster. People are calling me a mischief monger. People are saying that I create problems and they don't want to be my friend. What is this? Who is a good friend and who is a bad friend? Why are they calling me a bad friend?" That is Krishna and Narada. And Krishna said, "Oh Narada, you are a Triloka Sanchari." That is, you travel all the three worlds and there's nothing you don't know, but you still want the answer from me. Do one thing, Narada. Go in the northern direction. You will find a garbage dump. And in that dump, there's a worm. That worm will tell you what is friendship and what is good friendship. Narayana, Narayana, I have come with a simple question and you're sending me again on a quest. What is this Maya, Krishna? But I can't say no. I will go. And he went in the north direction. And as Krishna said, there was a pile of garbage. And he looked everywhere. Where will he find the tiny worm? He just stood there and he said, "Krishna sent me to find the answer for my question as to who is a good friend, what is a good association, what is Satsangatyam. Worm, if you are there, please come out and tell me." There was a slight movement in that garbage dump, and a small wiggly worm came out. As Narada was looking at it, it just fell at his feet, dead. At his feet, dead. What is this Maya? And how will this dead worm tell me anything? And he went back to Krishna and he said, "Krishna, you sent me there to that garbage dump and you asked me to talk to that worm, but that worm is dead as soon as it came out. Now tell me, what is a good association? Please tell me, Krishna." "Narada, not so soon. You please now go in the southern direction. You will find a house, and in that house, you'll find a bird, a pigeon. That pigeon will tell you." "Krishna, ye Maya, what is this Maya, Krishna? Why can't you just tell me what it is?" "No, no, Narada, you go, you will find the answers." So Narada went in the southern direction and he found the house. He went inside, and on the attic there was a nest, and in the nest there was a bird. He stood there and he said, "I want to know what is good friendship. I want to know what is good association." And I went to Krishna. Krishna sent me to a garbage dump and he asked me to find out from a worm. But the worm did not tell me anything. It died before it could say anything. And now Krishna has sent me to you and told me to ask you. And he said that you will give me the answer. Oh bird, tell me, what is good friendship? The bird flew, fluttered its wings, and dropped dead again at his feet. "Krishna, Narayana. He sighed. He came back to Krishna and he said, what is this Maya? Why are you sending me on this quest? What do you want to do? Why don't you tell me, O Krishna? Not so soon, Narada. Now, you go to the king. The queen has just delivered a baby. And that prince will tell you, will give you the answer you're looking for. Narada was shocked. He was actually a little worried too. When he went to meet the worm died. When he went to meet the pigeon died. Now it is the prince. What if? But he cannot say no to Krishna. He went to the king. And as soon as the king saw Narada, the divine sage, he invited him very respectfully. He gave him a seat, he washed his feet, and he was very happy to host the divine sage. Narada said, I have come to see your son, the prince. Now the king was very happy. His son will get divine blessings. He took him to the prince's chamber. Narada was really scared. He stepped in and he went close to the cradle. He looked at the baby. He said, I want to know what is good friendship, what is satsangatyam, what is good association. And I went to Krishna. Krishna sent me to a worm. The worm died. He sent me to a pigeon. The pigeon died. And now he sent me to you to ask, to find the answer. Oh, Prince, can you tell me? Immediately there was a flash of light. The baby rose up and changed into a divine form. And the prince spoke. O divine sage, O Narada Muni, I was the worm when you went first to meet me at the dump garbage. That was me. I was the worm. Just because you came to see me, I got rid of that wretched life and I was reborn as a bird. And for those who are not aware or who don't know about the mythology, according to the Indian mythology, one day in the heaven is equal to thousands of years on the earth. So the prince said, then I was born as a pigeon. And when you came and when you spoke to me, I got rid of that life and I got human life. And now when I was born as a prince, you came to me, you stood here and you spoke to me. And then I got this divine form. This is what a good association does. It improves the quality of life. This is Satsangatyam. And the prince rose into the heaven. Narada, now that his question is answered, came back to Krishna. Krishna was still smiling and looked at Narada as if asking, are you satisfied? Narada smiled and said, what is this Maya? How beautifully you've told me what is good friendship. Now I know friendship is something which will improve the quality of life. A good friend will always help you change into a good person. I know, and I will try to be a good friend. And he bowed to Krishna and he went back on his way. This is the story of Satsangatyam or good association. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful story. Anybody, any thoughts, comments, questions? You know, I'm often struck with Indian mythology of the contrasts between the huge and the tiny. In this case, it was a tiny, tiny worm.
Yes.
The same story with, gods and big things. So there's that juxtaposition of the tiny and the huge.
Yeah.
Padma?
How I see this is also, it's also about friendship, but I also see it as when you associate with a elevated soul, you are liberated.
Yes.
Because in Indian mythology, we believe that the soul never dies. You are reborn.
Born.
And each time you are born, if you take the birth of a human, which means you have crossed several of the smaller births, and human birth is supposed to be something very blessed. So this story also speaks about how a great sage Narada is that his very association helps the souls to be liberated and to evolve into better beings.
Yes.
A lovely story. Thank you so much, Lalita.
Thank you.
It was really very nice, but I didn't know till Padma explained that this is the evolving of the soul.
Yes,
I was
it is.
wondering how did the king and queen react to their
No, it
prince,
is about evolving of the soul. Yes, it is about.
Yeah.
It is about
Okay,
rebirth.
Okay, that I didn't connect, but I think it was very nice. So that means with whoever you keep in touch,
Yes.
it's your karma, right?
Yes, you can actually take the story, and when I tell the story to children, I say that when you are a good friend and you always want to, say, for example, if a child is doing something wrong and then there is a friend, if you are a good friend, you will not let that what you have done wrong affect the other boy or the other girl.
Okay.
So that means you are being a very good friend, and that boy or girl, because he's associated with you, he's also getting a good quality of, and he's seeing that, okay, this boy has done wrong, and but he's still telling me I have done something wrong, so you please don't do it. Because of my friendship, I'm not causing you harm, but I'm telling you that though I have done something wrong, you can learn from me. And instead of telling him, chalo, I have also done wrong, come, let's do wrong, or let's do something naughty. So when I tell it to smaller kids, I use
Explain
this
it
that.
like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. That's clear.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you very much, Lalitha.
Thank you, Eric.
And
Thank you so
and I
much.
thought your virtual backgrounds were very effective.
Thank you.
Just one question, Eric. This is Sharada Suresh. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just asked Lalita. She said in the final meeting of Narada with the prince, his Atma or soul is also liberated. Now we associate the liberation of the soul is at a higher level, but basically it is death. The body dies. So how does she explain this as this part of the story? How does she simplify it or explain it to children?
When I am telling it to kids, I do not talk. I just say it is as a matter of fact that the worm fell dead. And the kids till now, they have not asked how come it died and how come it is born. They don't, because this is a story about good association, and they are glued to the story. And at the end, when the prince is taking the divine form, that is the ultimate. He is not dying, he is getting liberated, and he's taking the divine form, and he is going into the heaven. I have told that at the end of the story, that the baby rises and there is a divine form.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.